when the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keeps dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
We're here, people. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We are here. Liverpool versus Real Madrid Champions League. Before we even dive into anything, guys, please make sure you smash that subscribe button. As you guys can see, scroll across the button. We are on the road to 400 subscribers. Big up everybody who has obviously subscribed already to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share this out. All that good stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. I shouldn't say the Lord's name in vain, but you know, here we are, man. Here we are. Liverpool, man. Liverpool. Champions League got knocked out round of 16 to Real Madrid last night. Beaten 1-0 at the Bernabeu, thanks to a goal from Benzema. Lost 6-2 on aggregate. Obviously, big up Ends. Obviously, speaking on his show last night, just about a few various different things. First and foremost, as a whole, yeah, Liverpool. This has been Liverpool's season. Quite disappointing. Now we are officially out of every single competition by March. I think this is the first time it's happened actually since the 16-17 season, from what I read, which is actually quite astonishing, to be honest with you. I would have thought that would be something that we would be doing not on a regular basis, but a lot more often, considering we only won the FA Cup and Carabao Cup not too long ago. But nonetheless, you know, we are out of all competitions. Typical season for Liverpool, if I'm being honest with you, in regards to how things have gone. We deserve it. We totally deserve it. Real Madrid were the better team over these two legs. Yeah, honestly, it's, you know, before I'm going to dive into, you know, the stats and players and stuff like that, but it's just a quick one. Like, you know, we speak a lot, obviously, about Liverpool, about Klopp, and, you know, about various different things, you know, in regards to, you know, Liverpool, their somewhat success, you know, that they've had, you know, even, I mean, it was within a 2-year period, but, you know, success that they've had, you know, under Jurgen Klopp. One thing I don't like, and one thing that I hear quite a lot is, you know, and again, it's not all on Klopp, by the way. Like, this isn't me saying, yeah, it's all Klopp's fault, because it isn't. At the end of the day, players are going to be held accountable. Ownership is also going to be held accountable, because they've all played a part in, not just this season, but just as Liverpool as a whole, they've all played a part in it in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, I look at things and I say, you know, I keep relative to time. And you know, football is all about context at the end of the day. You know, we cannot keep looking at the past and keep comparing Liverpool to the past. We cannot keep sitting here and saying, yeah, but look where Liverpool were when Jurgen Klopp took us over, blah, 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 because we cannot keep judging him by those standards. Where we are at now as a football club as a whole, in terms of, you know, being, you know, a club that's, you know, producing these kind of record revenues, a club that's, you know, competing at the top end of the Premier League, and the top end of the, you know, the back end of the Champions League, and, you know, all these kind of various different things. We cannot keep judging Jurgen Klopp by the standards of which he came into this football club. We cannot keep judging the ownership by the standards of which when they came in this football club. We cannot keep judging these players by the standard of when they came into the football club. We need to stop as a fan base. We need to stop that. It does not matter where we were prior to all of these things coming into play. It's irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant. Elite clubs do not do that. No elite club does that at all. None of them. Absolutely none of them. PSG, Manchester City, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Juventus. None of these elite clubs out there, the top clubs in world football, they do not judge themselves by their past. All Liverpool do as a club, as a fan base, as an everything, is judge ourselves by the past. And why I say that is, then we look at things like Jurgen Klopp, or like some of the players, or like the ownership. All we ever seemingly keep doing is, well, you know, when Jurgen Klopp came into the football club, we were finishing in 8th. It doesn't matter where we were finishing before Jurgen Klopp. It's irrelevant. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop comparing that. It's irrelevant as where we were as a football club before, because we're not there anymore. We need to let go of that. We need to stop being history merchants and let go of that. We need to understand where we are as a football club today. And where we are as a football club today is a club that's supposed to be competing at the top end, doing all these things at the top end, you know, of football. Now, again, you're facing off against Real Madrid. Understandably, I'm not sitting here saying Liverpool should have won. At the end of the day, Real Madrid treat us the same way we treat Porto, which is we're just almost their whipping boys in a sense of they always beat us. You know, it was 08, 09 being the last time that, you know, we faced them and beat them, you know, and that Real Madrid side at the time wasn't really good. They were going through their own kind of issues. But ultimately, you know, Real Madrid always seem to have the upper hand over us. Carlo Ancelotti seems to have the upper hand over Jurgen Klopp for whatever reason. It is what it is, and that in itself, to be honest with you, it's annoying. But I'm kind of fine with it in a sense, because it's Real Madrid. At the end of the day, I'm not saying we must lose to Real Madrid. At the end of the day, I would like to beat them at least once, you know, in this period of time. But at the same time, I'm not going to cry about it, because at the end of the day, it is Real Madrid. And again, they were better than us over these 2 legs, and they deserve to go through. So there's no complaints in terms of going out of the Champions League, because, you know, as I said, ultimately, you know, we deserved to go out. But, you know, it was just that I needed to say that, because I keep hearing all of this, and you know, you know, when Klopp gets criticized, you know, it's straight away everyone's to the defense of, but look where he took us from. It doesn't matter where Jurgen Klopp took us from. It is irrelevant. You need to start judging him by what is going on today. Liverpool was successful as a football club under Jurgen Klopp for a 2-year period. Now, I am also not saying, and I'm also not naive in thinking that Liverpool were going to go on this crazy 6-7 year run and just win. No, I am not saying that. But the reality is, if you can't find yourself a manager who's able to keep up the sustainability in all aspects of the team in itself, which, and I'm talking about not blaming the owners, because it's not just the owners, it's Jurgen Klopp as well. Not blaming the players, because it's not just the players, it's Jurgen Klopp as well. Do you get what I mean? He is the common denominator in all of this. You know, ultimately, he's the one who picks the players who go out there and tries to perform to the best of their abilities. And he's the one who supposedly goes out there and signs these players. He is the common denominator within all of this. So the reality is, he is the one I'm going to look at probably the most, if I'm being totally honest with you, purely because you are the one who picks. You're the one who wants to sign this guy. You're the one who wants to play this way. And we'll get into the way that we played anyway in the game. But you're the one who wants to do all of these kind of various different things. So when things don't pan out, not just you, again, need people to understand, it's not just him. Players are going to be held accountable. They are going to be held accountable, because some of these players, their application has been absolutely dog shit. They know who they are. They can't hide behind the stats any longer. They can't hide behind the running stats any longer. They can't hide behind beating Manchester United 7-0. Can't hide behind that anymore. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to hear any of that anymore. I'm not trying to hear all of these stupid victories that they will claim in a season, and then everybody calls them great, when I'm watching absolute garbage most of the time of this season. That's what I'm watching from Liverpool at this current moment in time. But like I said, the common denominator is going to be Jurgen Klopp in this. But he's not alone. He is not alone by any stretch of the imagination. And like I said, ownership and players have to be held accountable for, one, the way that this season has gone, but just in a general sense of why Liverpool have seemingly, as much as they've won everything over this period of time, have only done it once. Ask yourselves this question. They've only done it once. Is that sustainability? Is that sustainability that you guys want as a football club? Just to be told, or just to be able to say, oh, but we've won it once? Is that something that an elite club says, you know, tells everybody? Is that something that elite clubs shout about? I don't know. Let me know. I mean, I don't support, in my opinion, I don't support a club that's an elite club, to be honest with you, anyway. I don't look at Liverpool like that, to be honest with you, because Liverpool have been a cup team for the last 30 years. Ultimately, you've only won one Premier League title, so you're a cup team by definition, because that's all you've won throughout this period of time. So that's not an elite club to me. Historically, yes, historically. But in terms of who they are now, no, Liverpool, in my opinion, are not that. Is that what we are going to tell people in a few years' time? Oh, but we won everything. Oh, how many times did we win the Premier League? Well, we won it once. How many times did you win the Carabao Cup? We won it once. How many times? Well, we won it once. Okay, fair enough. So you won it once. That's fantastic. Leicester have also won the Premier League as well. That's great. Arsenal won the FA Cup. I got about 5 times in the last 10 years or whatever. Whatever their record is. That's great. That's absolutely great. Is that what an elite club would shout about, though? I don't think so. Not from the elite clubs I've seen. I've seen multiple. That's what I call elite level. And that's what I'm talking about in regards to Liverpool. Again, not just Jurgen Klopp. I don't want people to think that it's all just Jurgen Klopp. He's just going at Jurgen. No. Jurgen Klopp, listen, I'll give him his time in terms of what I think about him and blah, blah, blah. And you guys already know, watching the show, you guys already know how I feel about him in a general sense. Players as well need to be held accountable. A lot of these players need to be held accountable. I'm not hearing again the excuse of last season, mentally fatigued. That's a weak excuse. Elite players, we don't do that. They don't. There is no mental fatigue for an entire season. That just doesn't come into play for an entirety of a season. So let's not give them that excuse. Let's not feed them that any longer. Ownership, pull your fingers out your ass. To be honest with you, give Jurgen Klopp the money that clearly everybody wants him to get, because apparently if he gets this money, he's able to do this, that, and the third. If that's the case, then the ownership, pull your fingers out your ass. Do that, because ultimately this team is just starting to regress, and all we're going to sit here and say and tell everybody is, oh, we got 97 points, or we got 99 points, or we got this, or we did all of these achievements. Okay, so what did those things result in? Well, I mean, it didn't result in any trophies, but we got really, really close, and we set the records for the number of points in a calendar year. And okay, what did this result in, though? What did these things even do? Did you get them to, outside of winning your Premier League title, what did finishing second with that many points do? It's irrelevant. I don't care about how many points you get. You could have finished behind them by 30 points for all I care. Finishing behind them on that many points is irrelevant if it doesn't result in winning. That is what elite clubs do. But we seem to be so engrossed in the fact that we love Jurgen Klopp, and he brought us back to this holy grail, apparently, like whatever this is. He brought us back to this, and again, not to dismiss anything he's done. Very happy of what he's done, but I know we could and should have achieved more. I know there was more in there. But ultimately, it is what it is. But let's get obviously into the game in itself. Obviously, we lost 1-0. Benzema with the goal. As I said, 6-2. On aggregate. Looking at some of the stats here. So this is from the second half yesterday. Now this goes back to Jurgen Klopp and style of play, and again him being that common denominator. I'm looking at Jurgen Klopp, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, okay, look, we needed goals. Forget about how many goals we needed. We just needed goals within this game, right? This is in the second half. Liverpool's expected goals are 0.03. Goal attempts 1, shots on goal 1. No shots off target. This is supposed to be a game where we needed goals. I did not understand the setup from Jurgen Klopp yesterday. He played, and to be honest, from what I'm hearing from content creators, from what I'm hearing from sports analysts and stuff like that, nobody seems to know actually what formation Liverpool are actually playing. I've heard so many different ones. I've heard 4-2-3-1. I've heard 4-2-4. I've heard 4-4-2. I've heard so many different formations. 4-3-1-2. Like, I don't think anyone actually knew what Liverpool were actually playing. And when you see the positions, as we'll get up here, the average heat maps of some of these players, you're going to be baffled too as to, so where was he actually playing, on the pitch? We started with, the usual back five, and then in midfield, obviously via injury, he started with Fabinho and James Milner. I mean, whatever. That's just the midfield, and then he had a quartet, and I don't know where they were actually playing. The only ones I know was Salah and Darwin Núñez in terms of they were playing on the left and right. The other two, I have no clue what they were doing. Salah, Núñez, Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo. That was his quartet. Again, like I said, I don't understand as to what they were actually doing on the pitch half the time. Like I said, maybe Núñez, I kind of understood his role out there on the left-hand side, trying to cut in, blah, blah, blah. Cody Gakpo and Diogo Jota, look, we take a look here. This is Jota's game, let's take this banner off for you guys. This is Jota's game, yesterday. I'm looking here, I'm like, where did you play, bro? Like, what were you actually doing yesterday? He was in the attack. He was one of our, alongside Mo Salah. And Mo Salah was just more purely for the fact that he was just so ineffective. Diogo Jota was so lost. I can't even say he was so poor. He was just so lost. He looked like I ain't got a monkeys as to where the hell I'm supposed to be playing today. Like, I'm just gonna run around. As you can see here with the heat map, there is no tied position. No one looking at this heat map can say, oh, okay, I get where he was playing yesterday. Yeah, he was playing on the left. I don't think so. On the right, I don't think so. Down the middle, I don't think so. Defensive midfield, I don't know. And that is what happens when Klopp is trying to play, with this quartet, is that you see here with Cody Gakpo's positioning again, where was Cody Gakpo playing in central midfield yesterday? Because again, according to the heat map, that's where he was playing, in central midfield. That's where he was mostly, that's where he was mostly getting the ball and stuff like that. But from what I'm hearing from other people was that he was supposed to be playing, potentially up front or behind the striker. And, does anybody actually know? Again, I don't even think the players really understood as to what the hell they were doing. You had Cody Gakpo, I can't even say he was dropping deep, but at times when he was in forward areas and then would try to drop deep to then pick up the ball and then, try to whatever, make things happen, get on the turn. But Real Madrid were just constantly pressuring him and stuff like that. When he was doing that, again, it's like I said big up Ends, make sure you go check out his channel. I said it yesterday. People said, oh yeah, but Jurgen Klopp changed the formation. You cannot change a formation and keep playing the same way. It doesn't even make sense. How can you change a formation but play the same way as you would in a different formation? So Jurgen Klopp likes to play 4-3-3 with the creative outlet coming from the wings, with his wingers being inside forwards, because obviously the striker is supposed to drop deep, which then creates space for his inside forwards to then burst in Núñez and Salah, those being the two. Cody Gakpo obviously is then the one who drops in, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly how it's supposed to go, right? If you play 4-2-4, 4-2-3-1, whatever the hell it is, how the hell do you do that? Because the reality is what you've now done is this. Once you've got, let's say he's done 4-2-3-1 just for sake of arguments, right? If you've played the 4-2-3-1, that's fine, but you can't play with your creative outlets coming from the wings and your inside forward supposedly trying to get in on goal, because the reality is there's going to be another man in the middle there. So you're occupying his space, which then means they're not going to run in on goal, which then means you're not going to be utilizing their best attributes, which is running in on goal with their pace and their strength. That's not going to happen because you've got Diogo Jota there, or whoever was up front, Diogo Jota or Cody Gakpo, whichever was supposed to be playing there. You've got one of them there. I'm assuming what was supposed to happen was you've got Cody Gakpo, as if it's him, let's say in the 10, if he's supposed to be the one who's supposed to be the link-up man, if he's supposed to be the link-up man, you need to change the way that you're playing then. It needs to be even more possession-based, and then you get the front three moving with Cody Gakpo then being able to pick out whoever he's picking out. Or you're going to get Darwin Núñez or Mo Salah playing really, really wide, trying to, affect play out wide, but you still got that one man in the middle, again, with Cody Gakpo then being the link man, almost then becoming that second striker. One of two ways, or play possession-based. It cannot be you're still trying to utilize, and if we check here by Liverpool's average position, you're still trying to play the same way. This is why I asked everybody, what are we actually playing? Does anybody really know? Because we are saying he's playing left back, right back, centre back, centre back. We can all see 26, 4, 5, and 66. We can see where they're playing. Then you've got 7 and 3. Okay, so we can understand that those are obviously Fabinho and James Milner. After that, well, I don't really understand, exactly what's going on. You've kind of got Darwin Núñez, who's appearing more so, a bit more on that side, but then Mo Salah's dropping a bit deep, and then Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo's kind of playing in a central midfield kind of area. So effectively it's the 4-3-3, which is what I kept trying to tell everybody. When you look at this is effectively still 4-3-3. But everyone kept saying to me, no, it's 4-2-4. We're playing 4-2-3-1, and it's still 4-3-3. You're still trying to play the same way. So again, even if he has changed the formation, you cannot keep playing the same way. You need to change up the way that you're playing. It goes back to what I was saying about Jurgen Klopp, and going back to what I was saying about him being tactically inept. I've said it on many occasions, is that you cannot keep doing the same things, but change up this small little aspect about it. This aspect that you're changing, which is the formation, is inevitably going to change effectively how the team is going to play. That's just obvious. I feel like I'm going mad at times. Like we can all see it. This is the thing that I know. We can all see it. We can all see and understand exactly what's going on. But the reality is that because we don't want to criticize, or we don't want to push a button because it's making us look, no, guys, like, call it for what it is. This manager is tactically inept. He ain't got a clue tactically. Again, to be fair to him, he never has. In all his time here, I've never sat here and thought, man, this guy's a tactical genius. So I'm not going to just blame this season on that, because it's just never reared its ugly head as much as it's doing now. But it's not. Now is probably the perfect time where I need to see what you are actually made of as a manager. And right now, I'm not really seeing that. What I am seeing is that you literally need everything to fall into place in terms of other teams just not being that good. All my players being in the prime optimum level that they could potentially be at. All of these kind of things just need to the stars just need to, like, as Jerry's mentioned many times, the stars almost just need to align, in that perfect kind of manner in order for things to happen, kind of thing. And when I'm trying to watch the team now, this is where I'm looking at you and thinking, once you've gotten to the top of that hill, okay, what are we doing to kind of continue that? What are we doing to kind of stay there? And it's like, I'm not seeing anything. And when I show you this average positions, because this literally, when I saw this, I was like, okay, so what is this formation? I don't even understand it. Is it even maybe 4-2-1-3? Maybe again, this is just average positions. Like, so those are obviously going to change inevitably, obviously, through the game anyway. But we're playing the same way. That right-hand side is still doing the same things. The left-hand side is inevitably kind of still doing the same things, which is Robbo's given this whole massive left-hand side to kind of do everything, and Darwin Núñez then has to cut in. Again, that works potentially in a 4-3-3 system when he's playing with the high intensity and stuff like that. But I assume that playing with that quartet of players, if that's the case, then you shouldn't have played those quartet of players. Then that couldn't have happened. Then you needed to have played different players in different positions. But again, that's just Jurgen Klopp. We take a look at Mohamed Salah, stuck out there on that right-hand side, doing absolutely F all, not doing anything. He was literally just rendered useless out there. Wasn't doing nothing. Nacho, I look at Nacho's game yesterday. I think Nacho played very, very well up against Mo Salah. Watching Nacho yesterday, I'm looking at his ground duels. He had 12 ground duels, won 8 of those, only lost possession 10 times, was fouled 3 times, long balls 2 out of 2, accurate passes, 84.6%, 88 touches, only dribble passed twice in the entire game, in comparison to, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was, as we see here, dribble passed 6 times against Real Madrid. I'm looking at, and again, I know it's against Vinicius. It can happen. It is what it is. But again, these are kind of alarming stats that we are obviously inevitably seeing anyway. I look at Trent's game yesterday. Dribble pass 6 times, 79 touches. His accurate pass was already at 74%. He 10 crosses, only half of those on target. Long balls, absolutely abysmal. 10 and only got 3, accurate long balls. He won no ground duels yesterday. Again, absolutely abysmal, and lost possession 22 times. Hence why I say, and hence why I keep saying, it's not just on Klopp. And I said this in the Bournemouth game, in the Bournemouth post-match review. These players are not applying themselves, but these players, I feel, are absolutely tired of the same message of playing the same way. It needs to be freshened up in some way, shape, or form. You cannot just keep signing players and thinking that if you sign a player, it's going to give us that buzz. Listen, let's stop acting like we've had this Luis Diaz buzz before. It doesn't just work like that. These players were able to build up to this because they could see what they were trying to achieve. At this current moment in time, I don't think these players believe in the message that is obviously being sent out by the management. They don't believe in it because they've seen and done this before. But teams have wised up. Teams know how to play against Liverpool. Alisson, please go back and watch it. He literally referenced this at the beginning of the season, that we have become predictable, that teams know how to play against us. So change the way that we're playing to become unpredictable again, because we cannot keep playing the same way that we have been playing for the last 4 or 5 years. Stop thinking that just because we won a Premier League and a Champions League that this is the way. Elite managers do not continue doing the same thing. They change it up because you have to become unpredictable so that other managers, other teams, other players don't just look at it and think, yeah, okay, well, let's just keep playing the same way. City bought Haaland. They're not playing the same way they did last season. And this is one of the best teams in the world. They're not playing the same way. So why do we feel that we're exempt and we can just continue playing the same way, even when we've got all of these injuries, even when we've got these players playing out of form? Why do we continue doing the same thing? And this is what annoys the living hell out of me. Looking at, people were asking about Darwin Núñez, coming off yesterday. Darwin looked like he was not at the absolute top level as well, and we needed to defend that side. We could change, and we wanted to mix things up a bit. Again, I go back to, when you're playing in this formation, when you're playing like this, which is effectively a 4-3-3, but again, like I said, I'm being told it wasn't a 4-3-3, but when you're playing like this, which is literally a 4-3-3 setup, it's what I keep going back to, and I'm going to keep putting this up there, is that it doesn't, clearly with Klopp, it doesn't matter what formation you play. At the end of the day, the message is still the same message that is being told. So this is what happens. You end up with the exact same thing. Guys, I'm not making this up. I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm just showing you all of the facts. That's all I'm doing. I'm just showing you the facts that are here. But it's like we are just oblivious to some of these. Like we don't want to see it. We don't want to understand it. And I'm like, guys, it's here. It's literally in your face. Like I said, I had theses from people on social media, all these Liverpool pages, all these Liverpool channels telling me about, 4-4 this and red, all that. Okay, fair enough. So why am I seeing the same system as 4-3-3? Why am I still seeing that? Whose fault is that then? It can't be the players in this instance. This is where I can't even look at the players. I have to look at the manager, because this is the message that he's sending out. He's still sending Trent Alexander-Arnold to get up the pitch, even though he's still got to play against one of the best wingers in the entire world. He's still sending, Robbo up the pitch, even though, again, he's got to play against one of the best young or best midfielders out there in the world in Valverde. He's still telling him to do that. Why? Modric, people talk about age of James Milner, and James Milner actually played all right, to be fair. Modric, over 35. Cruz, I think he's over 30 or 35 or just over. These players are playing at elite level. Why? Because they've got a style and they've got a system. They couldn't play in Liverpool's system. Hell no. Then we would really see how crap we would start seeing how poor they are, purely because they can't play at that intensity. Hence why I keep saying, Jurgen Klopp, play a different way. Play a different way for the teams that you're playing against. We cannot play the same way we played against Manchester United, like we do against Bournemouth, like we do against Real Madrid. That's 3 different teams. We cannot just keep playing the same way. It doesn't just work like that. But again, the rinse and repeat, the constant just doing the same thing over and over again. At the end of the day, that's just what you want to do. And if that's just what you want to do, again, that's on you. That's on you at the end of the day. We can give Jurgen Klopp Jude Bellingham. You can throw in Mason Mount. You can throw in Amrabat or Kefren Turam or Emmanuel Ugarte. And you throw in all of these guys. We're still going to get more or less the same result. because the reality is that style of play that Liverpool have been playing is not a sustainable style. Hence why we're seeing it in patches this season, because it's not a style that can be continue for too much longer. We need to change up the way that we do things now. I need Klopp to be able to see that. And if you cannot see that, then unfortunately, what I've been screaming for the last few months, or more or less since the beginning of the season, is I need you to go, and I need another manager who can come in, see what needs to be done, understand what needs to be done, but understand most importantly how to utilize the players that I've got here. Hence the reason why Graham Potter was going through all of these teething issues, because he wasn't coming in and trying to utilize the players that he had there. He wanted to come in, play his style, do whatever, and just say, boom, you're going to do what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. Again, do that. If you want to do that, do that. That is not a problem. But guess what? You're not going to get the results that you want to get. And that's what we're getting with Liverpool. As I said, when we were successful, we had what we needed and we done what we needed to do, and we utilized the players that we had at that period of time. And we were quite unpredictable in terms of, obviously we got to a level of predictability, but you saw it when we won the Premier League. Even then, I would say some of the performances weren't really tantalizing like that, but we were just getting over the line. It was becoming accomplished. We were becoming that type of team. And ever since we've won that Premier League, you've seen the performances as a whole in the season start to regress. You've seen it. You might not want to believe it because you're a bit, washed because of last season doing, trying to win this quadruple or whatever, this fake dream that we had. Ultimately, we got to 3 finals. We played shite in all 3 finals. We got lucky in 2 of those, and clearly with one of them, our luck ran out. We then got to the Premier League, was probably the only one. And again, go back and watch the performances. Stop looking at the season and thinking, yeah, we won, but look at the performance levels from the beginning of last season to the end of last season, and you will see not just the players, as we saw with Mo Salah, as we saw with Sadio Mane, as we saw with Roberto Firmino. All of those players had points in the season where they were really good, really good, really good, really good. But then it starts to regress. It just starts to regress over a period of time. That's why getting in that Luis Diaz, I guess that's probably what he thought was going to happen with Cody Gakpo this season, is maybe we get someone and it just becomes a bounce. Lightning doesn't usually strike twice like that. Let's not act like that. And people who keep claiming that, yeah, Jurgen Klopp is someone who will go out there and spend the money on world-class talent. We've never signed a world-class talent. Alisson, Van Dijk, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane were never, ever even close to world-class talents. I didn't even think they would even get to world-class talents. Credit to them and credit to Jurgen Klopp for that. They were able to get to that kind of level within this system. They weren't world-class talents when we signed these guys. Alisson was not one of the top keepers in the world. Virgil van Dijk was not one of the top centre-backs in the world. Mo Salah was a guy from bloody Roma. Sadio Mane was doing his thing at Southampton, of all teams. And let's stop acting like we picked up these world club. They became that over a period of time, and that was purely because of the level that they were able to maintain within a Jurgen Klopp system for a period of time. And really, the period of time was the 2 years. The year they won the Champions League, the year they won the Premier League, and all those other trophies. Outside of those, if you look at the performance levels, can we really say that they were up there? Not really. Mo probably being an exception in his first season. But outside of those, I don't think that they were performing at world-class levels. I feel like the levels dropped quite significantly in that. But again, it is what it is. We're out of the Champions League. We've got the top 4 to obviously fight for, for the rest of the season. Liverpool are in a top 4 race ultimately. So, that is still there. And that is still something that I'm assuming the team are going to chase. Whether we get it or not, I don't know. I'm not that confident that we will get it. I don't think we deserve it. But if we get it, then we get it and then we move. We desperately need it because clearly our transfer business is hindering on whether we get, the top 4 or not, or this plan A and plan B in terms of players that we may or may not sign. So, yeah, I think, for the rest of the season, we're on an international break now. We've got Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, I think, in our next 3 games. Quite daunting, if I'm being totally honest with you. It doesn't look well. If Liverpool were to lose all 3 of those games, you can probably kiss the top 4 goodbye. So, after the international break, again, Liverpool are not notoriously known for being that good after international breaks because of the momentum. Maybe this might actually be the one time where an international break might actually help us. So, you know, let's wait and see at the end of the day. Let's wait and see, you know, how all of that kind of pans out towards the rest of the season. But, you know, as I said, disappointing night last night from both players and manager. No one really knew what they were doing. Abject performance. Real Madrid kind of strolled their way to a 1-0 victory without Liverpool really laying the glove, you know, on them at all. So yeah, very, very disappointed, man. But, you know, that's the end of my post-match review. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, make sure you go over to Jerry James Show, check out Roms Knows Bets, check out The Equalizer, check out my boy Ish, Endsman TV as well. Make sure you guys go and, you know, check out all of these channels. There's going to be a lot of content being put out over the next couple of weeks during this international break. So, you know, let's just forget about Liverpool for a little while. You know, let's look at, you know, the internationals. Maybe there's a few players out there that we can take a look at. A few exciting youngsters and stuff like that. Make sure you head over, obviously, to my Instagram or TikTok pages, where I've got the player watchers that obviously still be continuing throughout this time. So, yeah, there's nothing really more left to say in regards to Liverpool. So, I'm G.